Hello, everybody, and welcome to Gene's Reviews. Reviews from a regular dude, where I do trailer reactions, I react to YouTube videos, I review YouTube channels. Occasionally, I'll review a movie, but really, I just do whatever the hell I want. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Gene's Reviews. Reviews from a regular dude down in the basement. I'm going to do something a little different today. This is the true reasons why lottery winners go broke. What would you do if you won like $10 million? For one thing, would you take it in the lump sum? Or would you take it in annuities over like 30 years? I think that's how they do it, is over 30 years or something like that. So $10 million over 30 years. A little over, what, $300,000 a year? $330,000 a year, but then taxes, it's probably going to eat up almost half of it. So probably about $150,000, $160,000, $70,000 a year. I think I would go for the annuities, just because I think when they do that, they invest it basically, and so your investments don't get taxed, I don't think. So you'll get that initial tax, the half, and then every year after that, when you get your money out, you don't have to pay taxes on it. I think that's how it goes. Let's check this out.
Here are the top reasons why lottery winners go broke. Number 8, family and money. It's overwhelming to suddenly stumble on an amount of money that's more than 99.9% of what the population would make in a lifetime. The smart thing to do is to consult with actual legal and financial experts who are experienced in dealing with unexpected windfalls, such as inheritances, or in this case, lottery winnings. It's not just lottery winners that can't deal with a big sum of money that they aren't used to. Just think of how many professional athletes go broke. The vast majority of people just don't know how to react to a large sum.
Yeah, athletes and rappers and stuff like that, they buy all the fancy jewelry and the big houses and cars and everything, and before they know what's going on, they're broke.
Of money, especially money that they didn't have to work for. There are lawyers who specialize in the niche field of advising instant millionaires on how not to blow their money. Or you can go with a fiduciary advisor. What lottery winners don't want to do is to follow the advice of family members. Listening to the advice of friends and family is one of the best ways to lose a lot of money. Managing a large sum of money is a complicated business. If someone has never dealt with a lot of money before, they most likely need professional help. Unless a family member is actually a professional in the finance industry, they're not who lottery winners should turn to. Number 7, always protect yourself. We've already gone over Abraham Shakespeare before in one of our previous videos, but we're gonna go over Mr. Shakespeare really quick again. Abraham won a $30 million lottery jackpot in Florida and received a lump sum of $17 million in 2006. He moved out.
Okay, see now, he got $30 million is what he won, but they took $13 million of it away for taxes.
With his working-class neighborhood in Lakeland, Florida, to a gated community. Several months after his lottery win, apart from buying a $1 million home, his only other major purchase included a Nissan Altima and a second-hand Rolex watch. His relatively modest purchases didn't do him in. It was the people that he kept around him. Shortly after his win, Abraham went missing, and in January 2010, his body was found in the backyard of an acquaintance. Doris D.D. Moore was found responsible, and is now serving life in prison without the possibility of parole. Abraham...
Okay, now how was she going to get a hold of his money, though, unless he, willed it to her or something like that?
However, isn't the only winner who had other people plotting on their money. Uruj Khan won $1 million in the Illinois lottery back in 2012. He planned on using the money to expand his dry cleaning business. Sadly, Khan never got to carry out what he planned, as he unexpectedly passed away. While his passing was ruled natural at first, tests later revealed that he had a high amount of cyanide in his system. To this day, the police haven't even named a suspect, much less solved the mystery. Anyone that wins the lottery should try to stay anonymous and be extremely careful with new people in their lives. Number 6. Money management. This is probably the most obvious reason of how people...
This is what would screw me over. I'm not good with money at all, so I would have to hire somebody to manage it for me and maybe go to an investment firm that's been around for a long time or something like that, or even get an attorney and have the attorney tell me what to do, because yeah, this is what would screw me over.
Will lose their money real quickly. They blow it. Many people think millions of dollars can last a long time, but there are so many ways to quickly spend millions of dollars. For example, William Bud Post won $16.2 million in the Pennsylvania lottery in 1988, but he was soon $1 million in debt within just a year. On top of that, his ex-girlfriend successfully sued him for a share of his winnings, and his own brother was arrested for plotting a scheme to get a share of his winnings. Unfortunately, Post now lives quietly on a low income and has been on food stamps. Another unfortunate example is Sharon Tabassi, a single mother who had previously been on welfare. She was fortunate enough to win $10.5 million in the lottery. However, she spent her winnings on a big house, fancy cars, designer clothes, and lavish parties. She went on vacation all over the place and gave handouts to family and friends. Sadly for her, in less than 10 years, she was...
I got to admit, I would vacation. I'd vacation a lot. I wouldn't buy no mansion, fancy cars, stuff like that. I just wouldn't do it. It's just not me. But I would travel and see as much of the country as I could. Let's go back a little.
Who had previously been on welfare. She was fortunate enough to win $10.5 million in the lottery. However, she spent her winnings on a big house, fancy cars, designer clothes, and lavish parties. She went on vacation all over the place and gave handouts to family and friends. Sadly for her, in less than 10 years, she was back to riding the bus, working part-time, and living in a rented house. Money won't last forever if it's not properly managed. Number 5, not doing the math. Dealing with money is really doing a bunch of math problems and having discipline. Once someone figures out their cash flow, all they need to do is just be disciplined enough to stick to the budget they created. This theoretically should be super easy when people have a bunch of money. But of course, people want to upgrade their lifestyle when they get more money. Of course, not all people go crazy after winning a lottery. Some lottery winners are capable of making rational, measured decisions. If lottery winners properly planned and executed, they're able to continue to reap the benefits of a massive financial boost for the rest of their life. One example is couple Denise and Paul Hardware. Their lives completely changed in 2007 when they won £5 million in the UK lottery. They celebrated modestly by just going on a luxury cruise. After returning from their cruise, they paid off their mortgage, bought their dream home in Somerset, and then invested in 3 more properties. Their winnings also allowed them to fund their son's college degree. Letting money work for us instead of the other way around is the beauty of owning a big amount of money. Once someone has a large enough principal to where the return on the principal covers their lifestyle, then theoretically they're set for life, and they don't ever have to work again. As long as they don't ever lose their principal, that is. Number 4, taxes. Winning a large sum of money immediately puts most people in a whole new tax bracket. Many winners forget about taxes and are in for a big surprise when a lot of the cash is spent and the first tax bill arrives. Let's use the example of the $1.5 billion Powerball. The first hit comes even before taxes kick in. The advertised amount is only given if the winner opts for the annuity. The government essentially takes that money and invests it in bonds for the winner tax-free. Yeah. If the winner opts for the lump sum, the jackpot goes down to $930 million. Next up is the federal tax bill. Lottery winnings are taxed as ordinary income. A lottery winner isn't exactly the type of person the government is eager to give a tax break to. It makes sense if you think about it, since the typical lottery winner isn't exactly a high cash flow generating individual. The US government automatically withholds 25% of a lottery win if the winner has a social security number. For someone choosing the lump sum, they'll be taking home that prize minus $232.5 million.
So it went from 1.5 billion down to 900 and something million. Now they're getting 25% of it taken away again for the government, so it will go down to 700.
Right off the bat, residents who don't have a social security number or fail to provide one will have 28% withheld, and for foreigners it's 30%. Winners then have to come up with the rest when it's tax time.
Yeah.
For our example, that's a tax bill roughly of $136 million. After federal taxes, the winner would be left with about $562 million.
So after 1.5 billion, they're down to 562 million.
Which is still a lot of money. But wait, there's more taxes. Depending on where the winner lives, state and local income taxes further reduce the winnings. In New York City, for example, the winner would pay federal, state, county, and city taxes. Tallied up, a state and local tax bill could shave as much as another 15%, or roughly $140 million in our example, off the lump sum.
Down to 400.
That would reduce the net winning to roughly $422 million. Too many lottery winners forget about taxes, and it's a big factor in their overspending. Number 3, earned, not given.
So they lost a lot of money there. Well, $1 billion. Because it started at 1.5 billion. And after it was all taxed, went down $1 billion, more than $1 billion, 400 something million.
People who are self-made have a kind of, let's just call it, training that overnight millionaires just don't. This explains a lot of the financial mistakes that many new millionaires make, such as overnight celebrities, or as we said before, professional athletes. If someone is inexperienced with money, they should visit a financial professional who hopefully can pull in the reins on the spending and bad investing. A good advisor would have probably been helpful to Jonathan Vargas. Back in 2008, he took home a $35.3 million Powerball jackpot. Vargas used his money to start a business. But not just any business. He started a pro wrestling business. He called it Wrestlicious. Wrestlicious featured female wrestlers wrestling each other in bikinis. He wanted to combine his love of wrestling and hot girls. Yeah, not all of us were geniuses at age 19. Wrestlicious lasted just 1 year, and unfortunately, Vargas ultimately went broke. Not having business acumen isn't the fault of a lottery winner, but a lottery winner has to understand where their talents fall short. Sometimes recognizing what you're not good at is more important than actually being good at something. No.
See, he let ego go to him there. By, I got all this money, now I'm gonna do this because I can just throw all this money around and everything, and wow.
Number 2, controlling emotions. If you couldn't figure it out by now with what we've been saying throughout this video, we'll just come out and say it. Managing money is way more difficult than most people realize or like to admit. It's not the math associated with investing that's the tough part. Come on, let's be real. Any random person with a bit of knowledge and an Excel spreadsheet can easily do discounted cash flows to figure out a budget to make their money last. The math is actually the easy part. The hard part is dealing with emotions. Executing a financial plan is where most lottery winners go off the rails. Think of it like a diet. Everyone knows that to lose weight, just stop eating. It's that easy. But why are there so many out-of-shape people around? It's the same exact thing with money. Let's take Jane Park as another example. She won £1 million at age 17. She said she was too young to cope with the sudden flood of wealth. Before she won the lottery in 2013, she worked as an administrative assistant for $10 an hour and lived with her mom. But she blew right through her winnings by doing things such as buying a purple Range Rover, traveling the world, and getting plastic surgery. Does this sound typical yet? However, she wanted to sue lottery officials who made her wealthy because the money ruined her life, according to her. Let's think through the logic on this one. She blamed her problems on having money, but she wanted to sue for more money. How does that even make sense? Unsurprisingly, she didn't go through with that one. Most lottery winners just aren't able to control their emotions that ultimately leave them broke. Number 1, setting up for failure. Some winners take the annuity, meaning they get their money in installments over a period of 29 years.
That's what I would do.
The annuity is the best option for most winners because it protects themselves from themselves.
Yeah.
Lottery winners need to be honest with themselves when on the question of are they actually good at money management. For example, most people think they're an above average driver. See how that math doesn't work out? Of course, the math says it makes more sense to take the lump sum. However, that's assuming good decision making. If most lottery winners decided to take the annuity, they wouldn't go broke. People need time to psychologically get used to having money beyond what they're used to. The best part about the annuity is that the government doesn't pay tax on investment income. But if a winner chooses the lump sum, they'll pay tax twice on the prize when they win, and again on the income from investing it. If someone is actually really good with money management, have built businesses before, and have handled more than $1 million a year in net cash flow, well, congrats on getting to God mode in life. By all means, take the lump sum. But if not, by taking the annuity and accepting the lower rate of return, it protects the winners from poor financial decisions. It's worth it to make sure they're not broke in 2 years. Let's not forget the tax savings too. The only real downside with the annuity is not living until the last payment. Winners can leave future payments to their heirs.
There you go.
But the IRS will want to collect estate tax right away on those payments' future value. Here's what's next.
Okay, so, see, that's what I would do.
Here's the official list of the biggest U.S. lottery winners.
Stop.
Are the ones that...
That's what I would do. I would take the annuity. Because let's say that you won the $30 million lottery. They tax it right off the bat. You end up with about $17 million. So you'll end up with about $600,000 a year over 30 years. Because if it was $30 million over 30 years, it would be $1 million a year. So you'll end up with a little more than half of that. So probably about between $500,000 and $600,000 per year. And you don't have to pay any more taxes on it because it's already been taxed. So you just set yourself a budget with that. And who can't live on between $500,000 and $600,000 a year? That's the way I understand it anyway. I feel bad for these people who lost it all because let's say like somebody like me who doesn't really have a lot, but then I'm not whining or nothing like that. Don't get me wrong. But to suddenly end up rich and then within a couple years lose it all, I'd seriously want to, it's crazy. Anyways, that's what I'd do. I'd go with the annuity. How about another life hack? A crappy life hack. Got a life pro tip for you men. Dip your penis in the water and then pee. Perfectly silent and no splashback. Thank you, everybody. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, #MeanGene, all that fun stuff. And if you like this video, tell all your friends, leave a comment down below. And if you didn't like it, then just shut up. And I will see you next time.